Hey everybody, welcome to episode 2 of Coffee Cutscene here on Handsome Phantom. I'm Dustin Furman, and I'm trying to go for some authenticity this episode. You know what, this week I was like, no, this is a show about drinking coffee, hanging out. To be 100% honest, actually, I woke up, my wife had made the coffee, so that was very nice of her. Shout out to Holly. And I kind of combed my hair a little bit. I was thinking about leaving it crazy, but I just couldn't do it. Today we're drinking the Ethiopia Gedeb from Heart Roaster out in Portland. Excellent coffee, I highly recommend it. So this week we're going to talk about a game and a series that is still somewhat new to me, but something very, very special, and that is Persona from Atlus. I was first introduced to Persona kind of actually more on the tail end as far as a lot of main Persona fans. I caught on for Persona 4 Golden on the Vita, and I think I just picked it up after so many people saying like, hey, this is the best game on Vita, you have to play it. With the launch of Persona 5 in just a few days, we're not really going to be talking about Persona 5, maybe a little bit, but I want to talk about why Persona is not only special to me, but special to I think all the fans, and why this next game is going to be absolutely huge. So to try to keep myself from rambling, I have 3 specific points that I think boil down what Persona means to me and why it's so great. Let's start off, number 1, and that's the style. This game has so much style, both Persona 4 and Persona 5. To be 100% clear, I have not played through all of Persona 3. I had started it, and again, especially with this most recent year, it's been very difficult to get back to, just in order to keep up with all the things coming out. And so what I mean by that is that, so Persona 4, you've got those amazing menus. Every menu looks handcrafted, and all the costumes, the character designs, everything looks like there was such attention to detail on how things were made to integrate with the game. And especially something that's interesting too is how the characters, their character design and their personality go hand in hand. It really is masterwork. And I think you're going to see this especially in Persona 5. It really is quite a jump from Persona 4 to Persona 5, that the amount of stylishness, the amount of like cool graphics and stuff like that is staggering. It really is cool. Every single menu has something cool to look at. I found myself in Persona 5 pressing pause and going through the different menus and just looking at them, or you go to a shop and you look at those menus, everything looks so good. So if you're the type of person that cares about the aesthetic, cares about the design, you got to check it out. The next one I have on my list here is combat, and let's just talk about gameplay overall. I think Persona, especially now, is going to shine more than ever. We've seen a lot of traditional JRPGs move into the way of a more action-oriented. Specifically, Final Fantasy 15 we used to have was a traditional JRPG, and now it's a more action-based. So the interesting part is Persona, for the most part, has doubled down on that turn-based JRPG, and each game continually improves it. And to the point where Persona 5 is kind of like this ultimate JRPG. Persona 3, so let's just talk about the gameplay in general, and then we'll talk about the differences. Persona is kind of like this weird mix with like a little bit of Pokemon with traditional JRPG. Each game really does improve the formula. I think in Persona 3, initially, you weren't able to control your party members, which a lot of people really didn't like. And then Persona 4, you can control your party members, which is really nice. And Persona 5 now, we have a bunch of different ways that you can hand off your abilities to other players to further strategize. And it's just really, the way they've mastered the flow from each game, like starting Persona 4, I was like, wow, doesn't feel like other JRPGs. I think the thing that was fresh on my mind at the time was probably Pokemon, and how the battles maybe seem to take longer than they need to. There's long battle animations and things like that. It feels more flowing. It never feels like you're having a dull moment in battle, and I think that's where the combat really shines. And then there's the other half of the gameplay, which is this school social simulator type. I don't even know what to describe it. when you describe to somebody what the other half of this game is, like, oh, you go to school, you have a job, and you hang out with friends and stuff. People are like, well, why would I want to do that in a video game? But there's this really interesting aspect of it that, like, every job you do, you get either more money or you can improve to your overall stats. And my personal favorite is when there's certain jobs or activities or times that you hang out with friends and you get to know more about that character. And that's going to segue us right into our next segment. The final reason and what really draws me to Persona, and I think many others, is the characters and story. We're going to mash those together because I think they belong together, the characters and story. And it's interesting playing at least a little bit of 3, 4, and 5 now, how they are able to be so Persona, but also are able to be their own independent thing that's so different from the other games. I talked about the mechanics of how you get to know each character. And Persona almost ruined a lot of, I don't want to say ruined, but it does its characters so well. By the end of the game, you know them. It's like they're your friends. And I don't want to sound cheesy or hokey, like, oh, they're my friends now. But seriously, like, I think about Persona 4 and how I spent 80 hours my first playthrough, and then I've spent another 30 into my second playthrough. You sit and you wonder, you're like, oh, what's Yosuke doing right now? Every character has their own strengths and their own weaknesses. And I think that's what's particularly interesting is how, specifically Persona 4, how you know each character, you get to know them, and you start to get a little tidbit about what's going on in their life. Maybe some stuff that's not so great. And together throughout the game, you figure out how to overcome these problems, or maybe not necessarily how to overcome them, but how to live with them, and how the characters grow together and interact and help each other out is really spectacular. It really is. The writing is awesome. It's really unlike anything I've ever quite seen in a video game. I sent out a tweet to everybody on my followers that said, let's see, what did I say? I said, I'm recording Coffee Cutscene episode 2. Here we are right now doing. And I said, what's one thing you love about the Persona series, and at me to be on the show? Well, only one person responded. That's okay. It's a brand new show. And I didn't put it out, the call, in the last video. So here's the call now. I'm going to be doing community questions real quick at the end of each episode. Our friend Alex O'Neill, head of Irrational Passions, responded. He said, Persona 3 legit changed my life. The attention to detail with the characters is mind-blowing to this day. And Alex, I can't help but agree with you. You're so right. The attention to detail is awesome. Like I said, not only from their character designs, how you interact with them, their different personas, it all just ties together so nicely. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and try and wrap it up here because last week my friend Ben said I rambled too much in the last episode. So if you're watching this, Ben. All right, everybody, so this has been Coffee Cutscene episode 2. Thanks for hanging out. Make sure to check out Persona. You're gonna love it. I hope you enjoyed the show. Let's make it a conversation. Comment down below what makes Persona special to you, or maybe why you don't like it. Also, if you want to help out the show, like, subscribe, all those things help me out. Quite a big deal. And again, if you want to be part of the community aspect of the show at the end, make sure to follow me at DustinCanFly. Usually like Thursday or Friday, I'll send out a tweet that's asking the different question of the week. And then you can respond in and be on the show, just like our friend Alex. So again, thank you so much, and we'll see you guys next week.